Well, welcome to the Fast 8 program. We are in our final session. It is really the conclusion of the program. If you've been with us from the beginning, it is actually the end of week 8, and we're thankful that we can have a graduation program. So it's great to have each one of you joining us tonight. We've got some exciting stories, and we did not do an extra update of the handout because this was the home stretch, the final week. But I do want to remind you of what was included in the very final, overview for the last week of the program. It said simply, come prepared to share tonight. Share your testimony about which selected elements of the Fast 8 program that you will continue to incorporate in your life, and also be willing to share your successes as well as challenges while on the program. A number of you have been doing that. You've been sending your testimonies to us through the timelesshealinginsights.org webpage. If you haven't done that and have a story, maybe you'll even share it tonight. We'd love to have those things in writing. And if you don't tell us that you don't want your name known, we will assume that it's okay to share your name. By the way, just to help all of you relax, we have not included anyone's name in the testimonials that I'll be sharing you, just some initials or maybe a first name and a last initial. So we are going to begin by sharing some written testimonials, and then we're going to go ahead and we had one very special interview lined up. She was with me prior to getting started, and I think we've lost her for a while. Hopefully she'll be able to join back with us before we finish. So we're going to actually go to showing the screen again right now and sharing my screen, which actually is your testimonies. So for tonight, we're going to look at some of your stories and comment some on your accomplishments. So as I mentioned as we began, if you began with us the very first week, you have now completed the 8-week program because it was designed to start on a Sunday, and we're here Saturday night. So it's a full 8 weeks after the program start date. So first of all, congratulations to all of you. I'm glad that Stacy is appropriately attired. If you're watching on Zoom, she has got her graduation cap on. Thank you, Stacy, for coming in appropriate attire there. And we want to celebrate your stories. So actually, to be honest with you, you guys inspired me so much. There were more stories than I felt we could probably include. So I took some of them and put them into PowerPoint slides, and we'll look at those together this evening with you. So first of all, the testimony from MB from Maryland. The Fast 8 has been a blessing to me, and I plan to continue following the plan for weight and health optimization. I lost 11 pounds, but more inches than pounds. Thank you for these 8 weeks. So that was inspiring, an 11-pound weight loss during the 8-week program. And, you know, for a lot of people, this may sound inspiring, it may sound underwhelming. When I was working in a hospital-based weight loss program, yeah, you could see people lose weight a lot quicker than that in intensive weight loss programs, intensive lifestyle programs. But remember, the whole goal of this program is not just to see how quickly you could lose weight, but to see if you can get on healthier lifestyle habits that can help you optimize your health and trim down a bit. So this was really the goal for us as we were going through the program. And MB continues as far as the 3 things that she said she was going to continue. So this gives us, I'm really interested in this. What kind of things are helping people be successful? So MB said she was not going to be eating after 4 p.m. on weekdays, and that was because of her work schedule. And then after 3 p.m. on the weekend, she's continuing the leaf, stem, and flower vegetables and increasing her exercise. So that was inspiring. Now here's someone else. This is someone from the East Coast, from New Jersey. Wow, this is someone in the text. We're going to hear from Bonnie later. Bonnie, you've lost 17 pounds nearly, huh? 16.9 pounds. I do have your testimony in here, I think, a little bit later. So but thanks for that update. So let's go to MG from New Jersey. Thank you, Dr. DeRose, for your programs. I'm learning a lot. I'm going to have to go back and listen to them again. And this is fine. You know, there's a lot of content in all of our programs that we have online, and you don't have to feel like you're a failure if you didn't get it all the first time. So we are planning, just to give you an update, we're planning to make the Fast 8 program continuously available. So we're hoping to structure it so that anybody can join at any time, and then get links to the 8 weekly videos. And we may upgrade some of those videos over time. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, so she said, I found out that it's true. When you eat the flower, leaf, and stem vegetables first, you tend to feel fuller faster and you don't overeat as much. I believe the Fast 8 program is much more doable than the 30-day program. So she's comparing that with our 30-day to better health program. Now, some of you have done that too and said you liked it. But it's two different options. And some of you actually elected to do the 30-day program as part of the 8-week program. But anyway, this is MG's perspective. Thanks again for all this valuable information. Well, let's go to the next testimony here. And this is one of the more popular initials. I think we have several people going through the initials SS. This SS is from Michigan. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. DeRose for initiating the program Fast 8. I have been a vegetarian, vegan for the past few years, but I do eat selective meat once or twice a year. So that's a kind of her baseline. And I'm a heart patient. I have a pacer defibrillator in my chest, ventricular fibrillation issues. For those of you who are not familiar with the ventricular fibrillation, this is the bad heart rhythm that will kill you if you stay in it for any length of time. So this person has one of those implanted defibrillators that will detect that rhythm and give a shock. 2 years ago, found out that they were a type 2 diabetic. I've been trying to lose weight, but I also have back problems. It's hard for me to stand or walk. I can only stand for 15 minutes and walk maybe 2 blocks. Now, if this person had reached out to me at the beginning of the program and said, should I even try this? Do you think I could lose weight? I think a lot of people would say, well, this doesn't sound very good. Person doesn't have much ability to get around much. Well, let's just see how this plays out during the 8 weeks. Since I started your program Fast 8, I've lost 9 pounds, and I'm excited about that. I have a new relationship with my air fryer and the steamer pan. I've been looking at the sodium levels in processed vegan food, and it's horrible. So I'm starting to make my own. And by the way, some of you have shared recipes along the journey. If any of you come up with recipes that you're okay with us sharing as we go forward, because we do hope to upgrade some of these things. Right now, we think it's a great program. Many of you have told us that, but we're always looking to refine things based on your feedback. So if you've got some of these recipes you've come up with, by all means, feel free to share them. SS continues, I've made my own plant butter. So apparently nut butters and seed butters, I'm assuming. I've stocked up on dry beans. My day starts out with either a protein shake or oatmeal, depending on if I'm working or not. I eat only fruit in the morning since I'm a diabetic. I eat most of my meals before 5, since when working, I don't get off until 3 or 3:30. My supper is mainly leaf, stem, and flower veggies. A number of you have identified this. You know, we talked about using these leaf, stem, and flower vegetables at the beginning of one meal a day. And some of you said, well, I'm going to do it for the whole meal. So this is another person who's been apparently doing that. So this is what we also wanted you to do. We wanted you to tell us what's going to be different going forward. So here's SS her smart plan. I'm going to continue with the leaf, stem, and flower vegetables alone at supper time. I've been doing exercises sitting down. Remember, limited mobility, but she's increasing her time by 5 minutes a week. So she's doing exercises that she can do with a YouTube video sitting down. She's making her own food from scratch. That way she knows the ingredients in it. I'm inspired by this. And put this up for you again. If you don't remember this mnemonic, SMART, And as I told you, it's a very popular mnemonic in the behavior change arena. Some people use a little bit different um, definitions for each of the letters, but there's a pretty consistent one. S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for action oriented, something you're going to do. R is realistic. And remember, we've been challenging you all throughout this program. We want you to choose realistic goals, things that you can stick with. And the fact that you've stuck with it, that encourages me that you've set realistic goals. A few of you have written back and said, no way, this didn't work for me. And that's fine. That's why we have 8 weeks and we're trying 8 different things over those 8 weeks. And then T is for time phased. You actually, you committed to 8 weeks initially, but now you're making a decision which things are you going to continue for the rest of your life. Actually, SS continues. I know that I'll be making other changes in the future, but I will be continuing with leaf, stem, and flower, vegetables, and staying close to the Daniel fast. That's more that plant-based eating that we rolled out late in the program. I have always loved veggies, and I get excited just eating a salad. Now, I know some of you are still not at that point. Others of you have developed more of a liking for these things. It's an amazing thing. If you haven't caught this concept that we can develop new enjoyments. So as you start to eating in a different way, you start to develop an enjoyment for those foods. So it's very exciting. So appreciate that testimony from SS. Now here's TB from Tennessee. Dear Doctors David and Sonia DeRose, I would like to share some of my story with the Fast 8 program. I've listened to different programs that my wife and I have done on some of the different TV networks. I so much appreciate your approach and manner in conveying the information and resources necessary for this journey. I began the Fast 8 journey with optimal health and help in that area as a goal. If weight loss occurred, that would be a bonus. And I think this is a wonderful goal. I think this is really tremendous. Remember, this is part of what we've been trying to help you grasp, the fact that, we may have these ideas of what we think an ideal weight is, and often it's because of what society's told us, and maybe because of some weight table that we saw, but those things are all pretty arbitrary. And so if you really focus on being on a healthy lifestyle, that's really our goal. And what tends to happen is you get on those healthy lifestyles, you make those healthy lifestyle decisions, and your weight will tend to equilibrate at a good weight for you. So let's see what happened with TB. Weight loss did occur, and she gives us some of her data here. 68-year-old woman, 5'6", started at 163, and she's now down to 157.8. So you might say, well, that's not an overwhelming amount, but I mean, I think, we set our perspective in the wrong place when it comes to weight loss. You all realize, I think, that the average American is gaining weight every year. So when you in an 8-week program lose more than 5 pounds, it's actually really pretty incredible, especially if you've made changes that you're going to stick with. You see, it's not like, oh, I did this for 8 weeks, I lost 5 pounds, I'm going to go back to my old lifestyle. This typical dieting approach does not work for the vast, vast majority of people. So the goal is identify things that you're going to stick with. Here's what's really encouraging. TB says, I feel better physically. Had an annual visit with her primary care provider a few weeks ago, and that provider was thrilled with her blood work. Her cholesterol tended to be high, blood pressure tended to be high. Now blood pressure down to 124/62. This person had their thyroid removed back, over 20 years ago. Spleen removed some 20 years ago. They're being frank with us. They're sharing. Lifestyle wasn't really good. They ended up with COPD and emphysema. They had been a smoker at one point, but quit many years ago. Shortness of breath, slowing them down, but excited about the program, got on it, stuck with it, and has been seeing these good results. And now look at the attitude. I look forward to the leaf, stem, and flower fast every day. I'm going to continue with this. Remember, what's going to be different going forward? That's what she's sharing, as well as having one daily meal of leaf, stem, and flower, as someone in the program suggested. So those of you who've been sharing your experience, we've been learning from each other. Now, TB says she'd been eating throughout the day. She was snacking continuously, a grazer, and she said the fast from snacking was a tad challenging. I appreciate your careful choice of words there, but after learning why one doesn't feast continually, I was able to achieve that goal. And so congratulations on that. She's telling us that she made that break with the in-between meal eating. I would like to continue that fast, so not snacking, as well as doing what else? That fast from inactivity. In other words, intentional exercise every day. She still works in an office. She gets up, she moves around more often during the day. She's made up. And this is really great. See, this is what we want you thinking in terms of what can I do? So she's at work. Well, I'm going to get up more often. I'm going to move around more often. I'm going to park farther away. It's going to get me to walk more. I'm going to take some more walks. As soon as weather permits, I'm going to walk laps in my neighbor's pool. I'm very mindful of avoiding fried foods, but I did have some chips with salsa. So again, it's you're setting the goals that you can embrace, that you can stick with. And we're just excited for your success and for your stories. Now, this TB said she didn't have a problem with a common problem for many of the folks that we've worked with over the years. She had no problems with the caloric beverage fast. This is a big issue for many people, is those caloric beverages. Some of you may still be struggling with that, but she's going to continue that and going to keep up with her water consumption. The high sugar and sodium calculations were new and surprisingly shocking to me. So again, I just want to remind you, when it comes to this program, we gave you some challenges. You may not have embraced them, but as you're going forward, I would encourage you to think about these if you haven't taken hold of them. Remember the sugar challenges, you look at the total carbohydrates per serving in a food, and you compare it to the sugars in the food. And we're looking for a ratio of 5-to-1 or bigger for the total carbohydrates. Okay, so it's a relatively low sugar choices. And then the rule of thumb for sodium is you look at the food, look at the nutrition facts on the food, and you're looking at the calories and comparing it to the milligrams of sodium. And there's several reasons for this. We've talked about them, but I just want to remind you, where sodium goes, water tends to go. So some of you are sensitive to sodium as far as your blood pressure. It's been raising your blood pressure. It's causing you to retain extra fluid. It's making it more difficult to get activity because you're carrying more weight, maybe making inflammation worse in your body. The other thing interesting about sodium, and we talked about this, is sodium masks sugar. So you're going to feel a need to have more sugar to make the food palatable if you've got a lot of salt in it. So as you get away from that salt, that helps you in a number of ways. Those are just two of them. I thought I was more aware of sugar and sodium intake on processed items, but a new light was shed on this. I will continue to monitor my intake. So again, this person is sharing what they're going to do going forward. And that's what I want you all thinking of, okay? I want you all saying, if you haven't done it already, maybe you're watching this video, maybe you're on YouTube, you're not interacting live, maybe you're watching it some months after April of 2023 when we rolled this out. The challenge is the same. After going through this program for 8 weeks, what is going to be different? What are you going to stick with? What do you really see that you can embrace for life? And we say at least one thing. Some of you have identified multiple things. That's what we've been hearing. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. If you can do several and stick with them, great, but definitely commit to at least one, because that's what the secret to success is. When you've mastered that one, then say, you know what? I could add something else. TB continues now. And what I liked about her testimony, she went through a lot of these fasts. So it's just kind of a nice way that we're reviewing things. A number of you did this, but hers was a little bit longer testimony. She's kind of walking through a lot of these different fasts we challenged you with. I was challenged with the 3 p.m. fast. Remember, that's not eating anything after 3 p.m. I've yet to attain that goal. And again, you don't have to embrace all these goals, but the more you embrace, generally the better you'll do. And again, it depends on your lifestyle, your work schedule, a variety of things. I have been more of the 4-hour before bedtime person, and that's good. So not eating close to bedtime. I'm not going to totally rule it out of my life. I've enjoyed the weekly Zoom meetings. I don't have a microphone on my computer to speak, but if I can access the Zoom meet on my phone, I would be so happy to share, and you may use any of my story. Okay, very good. So let's see what we've got next here. Oh, yeah, let me just mention this. If you see where some of these folks are from, some of you say, wait a minute, I thought TB was from Tennessee. Now you got TB from Oregon. We don't have complete information on you. Sometimes we have a zip code, sometimes we have a phone number, and I'll look where the phone number is, and sometimes the zip code doesn't correlate, or you registered. We now have the ability for community groups, individuals, churches, medical practices to sign up as a partner program. And maybe I'll tell you a little bit about that as soon as we finish TB's testimony. I wasn't planning to do that, but I'm explaining why. Because as I recall, TB somehow was looked like she was registered through a group that is offering the program in Oregon. And so I thought she was from Oregon, and then I saw her mention something about Tennessee. I thought I had changed all the slides. And if TB is on and she sends me a text, say, well, actually, I live in Michigan, but I have a phone from Tennessee, and my friend in Oregon shared with me the link. So you understand, we don't always know exactly where you're from, but I tried to put your initials and where you were from, just for both for confidentiality and to let you know people were going through the program from all over. This program met a need in my life, and I thank you all. I would like to tell Bonnie that I will miss seeing her precious companion at the Zoom meetings. I have registered for the 30 Days to Better Health program, as well as the daily devotions. It has truly been my pleasure to be a part of this special group. Congratulations to everyone, and that shares our sentiments, those of us who've been working with the program. And thank you, Dr. DeRose. Yes, I appreciate your words of appreciation, and so does the rest of the team. We do have quite a few people who've been working on this, from promoting it to sending out the flyers to making sure the technology is working. Usually when the technology hasn't worked, it's been my fault. Okay, so don't blame them. Anyway, let me share with you a few things based on that testimony. She mentioned going through the 30-day program. A number of you have. If you've not seen that program, it's 30 daily videos. So I give you a 6-minute video each day. That's the average, maybe 4 minutes, 4.5, maybe one day it's 7, but an average of 6 minutes. You can sign up at timelesshealinginsights.org/30, just simply slash the number 30. That's the 30 Days to Better Health program. And we encourage you, all of you, we said we'd love to see all of you supporting someone as you go forward, have someone who's kind of an accountability partner, if nothing else. I know one of our participants shared some contact information in one of our support groups. Some of you have connected that way. But if you need a partner, send that through the timelesshealinginsights.org website. There's a contact us, and we will try to work over the next few weeks to get you connected. And if we don't get you connected in a few weeks, then contact us again. So we've got quite a bit going on. And there's a big health conference that I'm speaking at that I leave for tomorrow. And I'll be making a number of presentations there. So we've got a number of things going on. So we can't always keep on top of everything. We have some other folks helping us, but I like to make sure things don't fall through the cracks if we can. So if you're looking to connect with someone, if you don't have a partner, accountability partner, support person, definitely you can reach out to us. But here's the better thing, and why I'm telling you this in this context: get your own partner. Call somebody up. Encourage someone else to go through the program. And I see Bonnie nodding her head, and Bonnie sent through something in the chat. Bonnie, do you want to share what you just shared through the chat? Because some are on YouTube. And why don't you tell us, if you unmute, you can speak to us about something you're excited about.
I am so excited because this program was not just for me. I have a husband that is morbidly obese, and he is going to be starting Fast 8 tomorrow. I'm also really thankful, Dr. DeRose, that you talked to us about Dr. Kim Azelton, who's a lifestyle doctor here in Lansing. And we have an appointment with her on Tuesday. My friend Josh here has also lost 6 pounds.
Wow.
And I have I've not been very strict at all. He's not doing the entire veggie thing for dinner, but yeah, it's been just an amazing journey, and 16.9 pounds from the beginning till this moment. And I will be continuing, as well as the water. That's been a big deal for me, and reducing salt.
Great, great. Well, Josh, that's exciting for you too. Congratulations. That's impressive. Good work. Yeah, well, that's quite the story. And this is the idea. So if you've got someone in your own sphere of influence, it may be someone that you live with, like Bonnie just shared, but it could be someone across the country, it could be someone overseas. And that's the beautiful thing about the technology. I was actually just speaking with someone in the Middle East this week, excited about the Fast Aid program. We've had people from literally all over the world who've been going through the program. And you can reach out. You can send an email. You can, send a text to someone that's a friend of yours. Give them a call and say, "Hey, why don't we go through this 30-day program, or go through the Fast Aid program again, like Bonnie and her husband are going to do." If you notice, TB also mentioned a devotional. We do have that as well. But before we tell you about that, I want to remind you of something. And I do have I have my special guest here too. And this all fits together here. So Sheila is here with us. Sheila, we missed you there for a while as you dropped off the planet, but we're glad you're back. So Sheila's going to tell us her story. Some of you remember meeting Sheila virtually. She shared her story about how she first learned about our 30-day approach in the Methuselah Factor book. If you have that book, you'll realize that the 30 daily goals in the Methuselah Factor book are essentially the same 30 daily goals in the free videos. So you can go through it either way. You can use the book to complement it. And the book, The Methuselah Factor, you can see the subtitle, Learn How to Live Sharper, Leaner, Longer, and Better in 30 Days or Less. So I wrote that book a few years ago, and it's based on improving your circulatory health. We call it hemorrheology. It's the science of blood fluidity. And the first 12 chapters of the book, 12, 13 chapters, we go through why improving your blood fluidity, why improving your circulatory health is so important. We go through everything from stroke and heart attack that you obviously know are related to circulation, to things that people are surprised by, your vision health, your mental performance, arthritis, how that's helped by improving circulatory health. And then the last 30 chapters, one chapter per day, those 30 daily goals you've been going through if you went through the video program. So these are just different resources, different ways you can go through the program. You say, "I hate to watch videos. Dr. DeRose, I've listened to enough. I don't like, watching men who don't have much hair." And so then you can read the book, okay, if that's what you want to do. Let me share with you one other thing here. I did mention the devotional because TB mentioned it. So think about it this way. If you're going through the 30-day videos, those average 6 minutes a day. These devotionals average 3 to 4 minutes. So if you're looking for some inspiration, the Upward Look is a classic Christian devotional. If you come from that worldview, if you don't like that, don't listen to this. Okay, really, because it's very focused for that audience. There's a Bible reading at the beginning of each thing, and then some spiritual words of encouragement or challenge for you. But 3 to 4 minutes. So together, 10 minutes a day, that's the investment you're making for a month, and then just 3 or 4 minutes a day, just something to keep connected. I actually read through this whole book, 365 days. If you sign up for it every day, you'll get a link to the daily devotional reading. So just timelesshealinginsights.org/devotional, and you can sign up for that. Now, Sheila, I've kind of laid the framework to interview you, but because I mentioned one other thing that I wasn't planning, I want to stop sharing my screen and see if I can pull up a different screen for you all. Oh, okay. This is showing you, some of you have been getting this as you come to the Timeless Healing Insights website. If you're watching this live, we've tried to set this so it just comes up a few times, lets you know about this offer's available. If you're interested in it, take advantage of it. It's supposed to program so that it doesn't keep coming up every time you go onto the web page. If it's doing that, let us know. So it's just supposed to come up maybe once every few weeks, and it's only good for a month at the end of April. But if you're wanting to help us out, because this is a viewer-supported ministry, we don't have big budget that's sustaining Timeless Healing Insights. We have a lot of people who've been graciously, many of them, small amounts. You don't have to donate a lot. But for those of you that can help a little bit more, a one-time gift of $25 or more, or a monthly gift of $15 or more, we're sending out this 8-lesson chapter by chapter series that I call Healing Insights from the Gospel of Mark. We're doing a more detailed series on this. If you're watching our TV show, our half-hour TV show, you can also see that on Timeless Healing Insights. But this is a nice, convenient one. We've had churches and home prayer groups who've used this, family worship. Half an hour once a week is how it's set up, and goes through the whole Gospel of Mark. We especially look at practical health insights. So again, for those of you that come from a Christian orientation, that's a real nice resource for you. But I was trying to actually stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to try it again. Okay, pulled it off that time. So what I want to do is I want to show you something else that that can help you with running this program in your own community. And I mention it because we're talking about ways for you to help other people go through the program. So the website that I'm going to is timelesshealinginsights.org, but then it's going to be /your church. So YOURCHURCH. You say, well, my church is the Middletown, Ohio church. No, don't put Middletown. Just put timelesshealinginsights.org/your church. And I've just put that in, and I'm going to share that with you now if my computer will cooperate. So we're going to go ahead and try to share this screen. This is what you'll see if you type in timelesshealinginsights.org/your church. And let me tell you why I'm sharing this, because several of you have said we'd like to go through this with a group. And this is a really innovative way. We just rolled this out within the last month or so. So this is what you'll see. You can see the website up there, timelesshealinginsights.org/your church. It was originally designed for churches, but we now have medical practices, other community nonprofits. It's not a sectarian program. It's just like you've been getting here. It works for any faith group. It works for atheists and agnostics. It's not a religious-based program. So 30 Days to Better Health, if you scroll down, what I'm going to show you here is it's actually a way for you to sponsor the program in your community. So there's a one-time fee of $195, and our designers will set you up with your own web page, and they give you all these resources. It's all, professionally designed handouts, business cards. Here's what the business cards look like, if you can see that. So this is the business card that that goes to the general website, but you get a master for business cards that have your own QR code. So you say, well, I'm in Tennessee. I want to see if I can get a group in my community. We just printed literally hundreds of these business cards, and so we're giving these out. When people sign up for our group, it's connected to our local area. And in real time, I can go online and I can see, oh, we just had 5 people sign up. We gave out all these cards, maybe at the mall or at a flea market or something. And what's going on? Well, we've got, some new people going through it, and then I can give them a call, say, hey, I'm one of the local sponsors of this group, and we're having maybe a get together in a month and sharing stories, or, we're pairing people up if you want a phone support partner or support by text. So it's just a great option. So you can see there, it's $195 to set everything up for you, and then $19.95 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So we tried to keep it very reasonable. Just the technology for what we're doing is actually very expensive. Timeless Healing Insights spends over $2,000 a month just for all the things that integrate all these services. So we run in the red, just so you know. This is not like a money making scheme, you know. Anyway, so we're if people find this, you know, some of these resources useful, great. If not, we make everything free. We don't expect you to donate anything, but we do appreciate it, those of you that are able to help in that way. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want you to meet in person Sheila Adams. So Sheila, why don't you unmute so that we can talk together? If you don't recognize who Sheila is, and Sheila, maybe you could tilt your camera down a little bit so we see more of your smiling face, even if you move around there. That looks really good. Sheila, you may not recognize her, but she was interviewed in one of the testimonials that we shared with our 30 Days to Better Health program. Sheila, I think we filmed that about 1.5 years ago. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
And for those who didn't watch that video, how did you first learn about the 30-day approach that we were using in the Methuselah Factor book and in the videos?
Actually, online. That's where I found the book at because I was looking for some alternatives to weight loss, and that's when I came across the book.
So you actually learned about the Methuselah Factor book, and that was we had the videos out. You just didn't know about them, and we of course hadn't run the Fast 8 program. So about roughly when? What year did you think you ran across the Methuselah Factor book?
I'd say about 21.
Okay, so 2021, so about 2 years ago. And did you actually read the book and put it into practice?
Actually read the book and put it into practice.
Make any difference?
For me at that time, I lost 35 pounds. Blood pressure went to normal. And I was on a lot of anti-inflammatories. I have arthritis in both knees. So I was off the anti-inflammatories.
Okay. We were so excited by your story, and you shared that with us, and you joined us because that's when we launched the 30-day online, the automated program. Mm-hmm. And so that's been available now for about 1.5 years, and now it's fully automated. So anyone can jump on at any time, go through that 30-day program. So even though you had all that success, you went through the 30-day program. And am I understanding right? You also signed up for the Fast 8 program?
I signed up for the Fast 8 and incorporated some of the program into the 30-day program. I continued on that journey. I've had some setbacks from hospitalizations, but I continued on to the program, and then I incorporated a couple of things from the Fast 8.
So in what ways over the last 8 weeks did kind of, what new things did you adopt, or what things did it reinforce for you?
Well, two of the things that I incorporated, which made a remarkable amount of difference, was the fasting. And the other thing that I incorporated was no sugar at all. I consume no sugar. So
what's happened over the last 8 weeks?
Over the last 8 weeks for me, I actually started maybe a little bit before you did.
Okay.
I started around about January, and I have lost 28 pounds. And I'm under doctor supervision because of blood pressure issues. But I've lost that. I'm waiting on my lab results. They expect them to be good because I saw another doctor. They had more than one, and they were impressed with the weight loss. I no longer, as I said, have the knee problems that I'm having in my right knee. They wanted to do surgery, but we have now decided not to because of the weight loss. Some of the pressure has been taken off of the knees. So I'm not even going in as often as I was to get injections. Last injection was several months ago, and it was only in one knee, not in both. So mental clarity. I work in a hospital setting, so my brain is constantly going. I have a lot more clarity since stopped using the sugar. I'm alert, I'm functioning, and just recently incorporated exercise into the plan.
This is so exciting. So, and what I love about your story is you've been doing this for a while, and folks, lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds. Now, here, let me first reassure you, those of you that needed to only lose 20 pounds, you're not going to lose, 60 pounds by sticking with a good lifestyle. If you're starting to waste away to nothing, you're not on a realistic lifestyle, okay? But your weight will tend to plateau when you get at a good weight for you. And if you're not at a good weight and you continue to make improvements and fine tune things, you can continue to make progress. Well, Sheila, your story is very inspiring to me. I'm sure it is to many of our viewers. Anything you want to encourage folks with, because a lot of them have made a big commitment to do this for 8 weeks. And 8 weeks, that's some manageable time for folks, but some folks may be thinking, well, I don't know how I'm going to stick with this, or maybe they're kind of, well, maybe a little bit uncertain or equivocal. Is it really worth sticking with? Any words of encouragement?
Continue with the program. It works. The things that Dr. DeRose has been telling us over the last 8 weeks, they work. Just apply them. Keep going forward, because you'll be happy with the results. You'll see the change. You'll physically see the changes that your body is going through, and it's worth taking the time to go ahead and do the program, and to continue on it moving forward, because I plan on continuing everything that has been incorporated, and eventually down the line I may add some more stuff to it.
Okay, well, anyone have any questions for Sheila, since we have the ability to be interactive? Anything you're wondering about from someone who's been using these principles for a period of time? And you can just unmute yourself and ask. Oh, okay. Oh, well, here's, is this a question? I'm trying to make sure I catch the questions that come in through the, someone's trying to make me really appreciative that I'm in Indiana right now. If you're reading the chats, we'll get to that in a minute if it doesn't relate to this. I'm having a little challenge multitasking. So I know some of you can chat, but you can't actually interact. Okay, so a question for you, Sheila, coming through the chat. What is the thing that helped you the most, or was it more cumulative?
I'd say for me, one of the things that helped me the most was, for me, I have a challenging job, so I have to remain focused. That job, transfers over into my regular lifestyle, because I'm constantly on the computer. I'm constantly sitting in lack of movement. So one of the things that helped me the most was just staying focused. I'm typically an A personality. I'm typically driven. So for me, it's just staying focused and staying positive. It's challenging enough when you're overweight and you have multiple health issues, and that itself becomes a challenge. And because I am a Christian, my belief in faith in God helps me through a lot of things.
Okay, tremendous. We do have something coming through the chat that's got me smiling, because we're in April, but maybe Linda shared this. She and I met in a place that I don't know that I would recommend you visit at the time of year I visited. Many of you know I host a weekly radio show. So if that radio show is called American Indian and Alaska Native Living, and you're welcome to actually connect with that program. You can connect with it through the Timeless Healing Insights website as well. But Linda and I met in Nome, Alaska, she reminds me. They invited me to speak in Nome, Alaska, and you guessed it, it wasn't in the summer, but as I recall, it was the end of February. That was quite an experience. I did have a good time up there. And so we always enjoy meeting folks. Linda shares that in her experience on the Fast 8 program, she's lost 8 pounds. Her blood sugars have improved. She's been very happy with the results. She does also ask the question about osteoporosis and wondering if the Methuselah Factor program, the hemorrheology program, helps. We know that it helps with many forms of arthritis. We also know that even in athletes, if you improve your blood fluidity, it improves muscle strength and performance. And one of the big things that's important for osteoporosis is physical activity, weight-bearing physical activity. So I can't tell you that I've actually seen research connecting hemorrheology, blood fluidity, to less osteoporosis or slower bone loss, but there's some things that definitely would be related that likely would make a difference. Amazing story in the book about the Methuselah Factor book from an orthopedic surgeon. Kind of a similar story to what Sheila shared. This was a fellow who was getting ready to have a hip replacement, ended up having a heart attack while he was on the table getting ready for the hip surgery. Needless to say, they didn't do the hip surgery. And as a result of the heart attack, he got very motivated to change his lifestyle using a lot of the principles. He didn't know, the fast aid hadn't been released at that time. And I don't even think our 30-day program was out there. He didn't know me personally, but he made the kind of changes that we've been advocating. And as a result, when he saw the orthopedic surgeon 6 months later, and they said, well, you're 6 months out past your heart attack, we can do that surgery. He said, well, my hip doesn't hurt me anymore. So pretty remarkable what can happen with lifestyle. Sheila, here's another question coming through for you. And that is, have you been making these changes on your own, or do you have other people that have been kind of going through the program with you?
Actually, I'm doing it on my own with the help of my physicians. They know about the program. Between the cardiologist, orthopedic surgeon, and family practitioner, they're all aware of the program, and the changes I've made are with their assistance.
Okay, very good. Okay, we have a few more testimonials that have come through. There's more than a few, but of the ones I thought we could surround, part of it has to do with what I was able to surround myself. So by the way, it's not too late to share your story. If you didn't write something in and you had a good experience or an experience that wasn't that good, one of them I didn't get to put in was from someone on the island of Bermuda. And it was a very interesting one. This person is dealing with cancer. And from reading their story, is a fairly long one. They kind of debilitated. They'd lost a lot of weight, and they got on the fast aid program. They actually gained weight, which is what they wanted to do, and they're feeling better and stronger. So that was really an inspiring one. So I know a number of you have been trying to trim down, but we rolled this program out as sharing principles that could help you gain weight as well. And early on, we kind of tacked away from that because we realized not many people really were trying to gain weight on the program. So we really didn't develop that because we had plenty on our hands just to help you folks who were trying to trim down a bit. But it was encouraging just to see how she implemented those aspects of the program and had gained the weight that she wanted to gain, some weight, gain strength. So that was an inspiring one. So let me go back to some of the slides that I had prepared for you. And we will do what we've done in the past. And that was, we will go till about 8 o'clock with the general session. And then if you have questions as far as going forward, we will take those questions from you. Okay. So let me see if I can get my screen working. Okay. So this is TJ from Georgia. I've been following the Fast 8 program for the last 8 weeks. Thank you for your dedication to sharing your knowledge and expertise. I tried all the, so remember, 8 different fasts during the 8 weeks, but fell back a bit on the physical activity. And again, that's okay. We want you to pick at least one, though, that you're going to stick with long term. So let's see what else TJ had to say. However, at week 7, I had lost 5 pounds. What specifically had TJ done? Increased water intake, got rid of the caloric beverages, planning to keep on the leaf, stem, and flower fast, and also reduce sugar and salt. So, and this is what we like to see. What are the things that are working for you? What are the things that have been helping you? Okay, here's BK from Wisconsin. Enjoyed the Fast 8 program. And this is great. This person has not been able to join us live on Saturday night, so it's likely they're not joining us, and they typically get to watch it a few days later. So that's what we're doing with the program. We're going to set it up here hopefully shortly so that it's all automated. Right now you'd have to sign up and just go through it on your own speed, but what we're hoping to do is make it automated. So when you sign up, if you sign up for the program, let's say May 1, then you'll get a link on May 1 for the first week video. And then a week later, you'll get the link for week 2. We really want people to go through this as a full, 8-week program. We don't want them to squeeze 8 weeks into 2. Okay, because if you could access all the videos, say, well, I'll just go through them all. I'm not saying you couldn't get benefit from that, but we really have designed it as an 8-week experience. What is BK going to do differently? Plans to go forward making, this is us. This is what we're doing. Like I said, we're making 8-week Fast 8 continually available. You can sign up at any time. And we may be updating some of the content in the future. And the reason for that is, we have dates and we kind of improved the program, fine-tuned it with some of your feedback. So we may make some changes going forward. This is back to BK now. I've been following the first fast, the leaf, stem, and flower fast, and the fast from snacking and drinking more water. I also have given up drinking fruit juices with my main meal. So a lot of similar things that have been giving you collectively success. I've been active with exercise, doing exercycle miles in the morning and then walking 2.5 miles daily with my husband. This has been BK's habit for a long time. Pretty much vegetarian all her life, limited sugar consumption. But even with all the good things she was doing, the fine tuning, leaving out the caloric beverages, the leaf, stem, and flower fast, she's lost about 4 pounds, happy about it, and thankful for it. And we appreciate your words of appreciation. So this is Stacy S. from Tennessee. And Stacy shared a number of things with us. But one of the things I appreciated that Stacy shared was going forward, because this is where we're wanting, this is, we're in our closing portion of the meeting tonight, and this is what we want to focus on, and that's going forward. So here's what Stacy is going to stick with for life and what she's learned. She shared those things, among other things, with us. So she too is sticking with the eating from the leaf, stem, and flower vegetable group before her meal, planning on eating a lot less dairy, increasing exercise, decreasing negativity. And really, this is a key one. We touched on this at the beginning of the program, but there's so much negativity around the area of weight that it's easy to, if you have a bad week, if you slip, people will tell you, you'll tell yourself, I knew I couldn't do this. If holidays come and you get off track or you go on a vacation, don't let that. Let me explain it to you this way. There's a saying I have when I work with people with behavior change. Say, you can't choose just to go back to your old way of life. You can't just throw in the towel on everything and expect that everything's going to be fine. You do want to, like I said, in this program, at least make one choice that you're going to stick with. But having said that, if you slip, if you make a mistake, it's not the same as just throwing in the towel. So we say a lapse is not the same as a relapse. A relapse is going back to square one. So if you lapse, let's say one of those people that lost 5 or 10 pounds, and you slip up over a weekend, or you're at an event and you come back home and you gain 3 pounds. Instead of saying, well, what's the point? I knew I'd just fail. No, you're still 2 pounds less. You've still been learning practical behaviors. Just get back and refocus. Don't give up. Okay. Anyway, decrease negativity. Stacy's also decreasing her sugar and fried foods and not eating after 4 to the best of her ability. Here's another, so what have I learned? These kind of things, these learning points, I think it's a good exercise. Write down things that you've learned, things that, insights, put it on your refrigerator. I'm wonderfully made. And whatever it is, this would be, from a theistic perspective, from a God who created you. But whatever your perspective is, what can you say positive about yourself? Remember, so much negativity kind of creeps into our experience when it comes to weight. Don't put yourself down. Very important. I've learned health principles that are beneficial, and I'm starting to realize the difference between hunger and appetite. This is really a key one, and we talked about this early in the program. Remember, hunger is a true physiologic, it's a desire for food that's a reflection of a true physiologic need for calories. So your body says, I need calories. You perceive it, the level of your brain, that's hunger. Appetite is a desire for food that may or may not be in keeping with your actual physiologic needs. So it's a real important distinction. I was actually, as I've been going through this program, I've been, reading other resources, was reading a book where this is the main principle in this weight loss book. It's just teaching people the difference between hunger and appetite. And just doing that, people losing weight, feeling better, being under better control. If you have questions about that in our question and answer time, we could talk about that more. We did address it in some more detail earlier. Learn that negativity is damaging for myself and for others. I've learned that I can make healthy choices and feel better. And this is just huge. Even if you never lost a pound, if you're feeling better, if you're performing better, like Sheila shared, if your mind is clearer, these are just huge things. And it makes me excited to hear about it. I think this is the last one I've got for you tonight. This is GB from Kansas. She says, I've been participating in the Fast 8 program and I haven't lost that much weight. I've increased vegetables on my daily diet, and she's added the psyllium husk jello. Be interested to learn what recipe she used because we gave you several. But on March 22nd, then I'll listen. So was not overwhelming weight loss. I don't know if what that actual figure was. She didn't share it. She went to see her doctor. She was very surprised to hear her lab results. For the first time, her cholesterol was normal. Her doctor prescribed medicine to lower cholesterol, but she never took it. Now she's got normal cholesterol just from making these lifestyle changes. What else happened? Her glucose was in what we call the pre-diabetes range. So around 100 and above is pre-diabetes. And now it's down to 67 to 87. And the doctor is still wanting her on metformin. Metformin is a diabetes preventive medicine. Let me just tell you this. In the actual research, lifestyle is more powerful than metformin in preventing the development of diabetes. So you're finding that out. I'm not telling you don't listen to your doctor because you may be dealing with some other things as well. But I'm just saying it's amazing. This is from what they call the Diabetes Prevention Project, where they actually did this and they found that losing weight and exercising was more powerful than metformin. Thank you so much for you and your wife for all the wonderful things that you're doing for us. Blessings to all of you. And thank you for your words of appreciation. Okay, so that is really about the extent of our time. I know we have a few other things that came in through the chat, and I'm going to stay by. We're going to finish things up as far as the main content, but let me take a couple of things that came through. Then we'll take more questions or comments, maybe some other stories if some of you wanted to share. So what I've got here is from Gloria. Okay. And that was who we were just sharing her story. So Gloria, when I started the program, I was having lots of problem with gas. I don't have a gallbladder. I suffer from irritable bowel syndrome too. I lost some weight, but since I started taking the psyllium husk, all the problems with gas went away. And she went to her wellness appointment. She did some lab work like we heard. Cholesterol's normal, and she's still wanting to lose some weight. So thank you for giving us a little bit more detail there. And then a last question, do you consider fruit smoothies mixed with spinach about the same as juices? So here's what I will say. If you're using fruit smoothies on a program that you're losing weight with, great. But a lot of people, the more you process the foods, the less satisfaction you get per calorie with the foods, and it becomes more difficult to lose the weight. So I'm not saying you can't use a smoothie, but generally it's better to chew the food. You get more benefit nutritionally, and some interesting anecdotal things may help your blood sugar. Your blood sugar may do better if you chew your food thoroughly. I know that may seem counterintuitive. That is pretty much what we allotted time for tonight. All of you, whether we had time to share your story or not, are part of the success story because you stuck with the program. You may have had great results, that exceeded your expectations. Your results may have been underwhelming, but the point is you had results. Someone that shared her results earlier in the program was sharing how she hadn't lost much weight, but I was just amazed. This woman had not been exercising at all. She's now up to exercising half an hour a day and making better lifestyle choices. These are huge things. These are things that will give you huge benefits for your health and your lifestyle, even if your weight has not changed that much. So I want to congratulate all of you one last time for your going through the program, for being brave enough to do a program. Even though I've worked a lot with weight loss, we just rolled this Fast 8 program out for the was a new way of structuring some of the things we've been doing for many years. So thank you for allowing us to try the program out on you, and thank you for sharing your success stories. So that concludes our main presentation for tonight. So if you have to slip away, you've gotten the core information, but I did want to stay by. If you've got some questions, we want you to be successful going forward. So does anyone have any questions or other comments, things you didn't get a chance to write in your story and had something that you thought would be encouraging to other people? Anyone with any either questions or comments? Okay, I see one here. So let me bounce back up there. I followed the Fast 8 program and I've lost about 6 or 7 pounds. I decided that I really needed to quit coffee and can't stand it without a creamer. And I just found out that the creamer, if any of you are reading this, this is pretty insightful. Just found out that the creamer has corn syrup solids in it. I'm going to continue to stop eating at 3 p.m. I've been mainly a vegan already, but I need to work on completely stopping coffee and stop snacking. And this is something we talked about with you. I think some of you may remember when we were talking about the program, and that was for a lot of folks. Let me stop sharing this screen. You don't need to see that any longer. For a lot of you, you have been using coffee. I mean, it's a popular beverage in America today. And some of you are wondering why we tell people to avoid the coffee. Well, you see one of the reasons, because many people, when they're drinking coffee, it is not just coffee that they're drinking. It's cream and sugar. And these caloric beverages, any beverage with calories, is one of the things that tends to drive weight gain. So I thought that was a really powerful insight that you made there. So congratulations that you've connected those dots, and that's just really, really powerful observation there. What about other questions or comments? I'm trying to keep track of things that are coming through. Okay, anyone else have anything they'd like to share about their experience on Fast 8? I see Melora has joined us tonight. Melora, do you want to unmute your
Okay. Yeah. Hi.
Okay. So just since you're here with us, I'm not going to put you on the spot because it's voluntary, but I just wanted to acknowledge Melora. I know many folks were inspired by your story, and I just happened to still have your slides here with me. I did not know that you would be with us, but a number of you have seen the slides from Melora. Maybe you're just joining for the first time. We know people are joining literally every day, pretty much, joining the program still. So someone may have just jumped on for the first time. So Melora, if it's all right with you, I'm going to share
That's fine.
your slide, okay? And see if I can get my screen share to cooperate with me. Okay. So here's Melora, and
Yikes.
was that you, Melora, or was that somebody?
That really was me. I was actually pushing a woman around in a hospital just a couple days ago, and realized that she was 35 pounds less than I was weighing when that picture was taken. Boy, when I look at how big I really was and I see it in a person who was less weight than I was, and I found her weight oppressive and difficult, astonished. I
And
did
and
not
we'll
realize how big I was, even, though I carried it around every day.
and what I loved about your story, Melora, so we didn't have the formal Fast 8 program, but you and I had
Oh,
had the privilege of meeting, and I shared with you this this concept of making
yeah.
one change and sticking with it. And remind us what that one first change you made was.
Oh, I switched from cow's milk to plant-based milk.
Okay. And you actually lost weight by just doing that, is that
I
right?
did. I almost really actually surprisingly quickly, but it was also it was such an easy change to make that I was able to make another change because I, as somebody that big, obviously has a very unhealthy relationship with food. So I had to take very small steps, but it wasn't such a hard thing that I couldn't do something else. So after even just a couple of weeks of no more milk, just almond milk and soy milk and cashew milk. And sometimes I would get the silk almond chocolate milk, which was really good, but probably not the best for me. But I did love it. But anyway, it was within my guidelines. I never ever said that I'm not going to eat chocolate again. That is not a sacrifice. I have gotten to that step yet. Maybe that's down the road, but right now it is not.
Well, and I love this. I love this, okay? Because this is what the program's about. It's not about making unrealistic changes. It's you, every participant saying, "What can I embrace?"
Yeah.
And so, if someone says, "Well, and that's the problem with a lot of weight loss programs. They give you all these rules, and you can't eat this and can't do that, and that may not be real. It may be realistic for somebody,
I,
but
I
if it's
don't
not
I don't
realistic
know
for
those
you,
people. They are certainly not me. But
okay,
you gave
okay,
me
fair
a
enough.
bite that I could handle. You gave me a program that I could run with. And that was what, almost 2.5 years ago. I've lost over 85 pounds. When I met you, I couldn't walk across the living room without having to stop for breath. I couldn't stand at my sink and peel 5 pounds of potatoes. I had to do it sitting at my table. So I couldn't even feed my family without having to take frequent rests. Now I can drive, and I did drive all summer, 12 hours a day, 68 hours a week of driving, and still taking one whole day off, and did not fatigue, was able to keep up. And I'm making, my lifestyle change that I'm making, that I've been working on. I could not do, there's too many changes in the Fast 8 program, the way you're doing it for me, you know. But so right now, my big thing that is really a struggle is spacing my food, not eating after 4, because for me, it's not eating after 2 because I have to get up at 3 in the morning. So I have to make it quite early. And so that's my struggle right now. That's my next, that's what I'm working on. And I'm going to give myself a good long time. I stopped eating the fruit before bed. And now I've, that I finally, it took me forever. It took me almost a month to get that kind of on top of, but now I'm just working on not eating anything but water after I get off work. And that's really kind of a challenge for me.
Well, still, that's tremendous. And so, what's interesting about your story, Melora, you said the Fast 8 program didn't work for you, but you've been working the Fast 8 program.
Well, yeah. Oh
So,
no, I said
yeah,
the way, you presented, 8 different fasts. I could only do
right.
one. In my head, that was just too much at
No,
once.
that's, and
I
I
just did
and I
one,
appreciate that.
you know.
And that's the essence of the program. So it is
Yeah.
true. We did expose folks who went through the 8-week program to a bunch of different things, and the goal was to try to help you find some things you could stick with. So thank Melora. We love your story. We thank you for sharing with us. You've
My
been an
pleasure.
inspiration to us. By the way, so many of you were inspirations to us. And in fact, like I said, I've been as inspired by those of you who didn't lose a whole bunch of weight, because you're sticking with things that are helping your health and optimizing your sense of well-being. So that's just huge. I think we do have some other things coming through the chat here. So you've got a thumbs up, and I think that was directed to you, Melora, but let me make sure, because I'm just navigating through things here. Okay, let's check here. Okay. Very good. We've got folks looking out for each other, connecting through the chat. So anything else that you have on your, we don't need to stay for a half hour. I did want to make that available if some of you feel like you needed any other direction or there's anything else that that you had to share.
I would like to share a little bit. This is Melinda.
Yes,
Hi,
please,
Dr.
Melinda.
DeRose.
Hello.
I didn't have a whole lot of weight to lose. I had done your 30-day program a little bit and lost some weight on that, and then lost a little bit of weight at the beginning of this, and then I've kind of stayed the same. But both my doctors said my weight is fine. But it's not about the weight. It is really exciting to be eating the leaves and stems every day. I mean, I was the kind of person who always tried to cut corners. So I didn't have a lot of fruits or vegetables in my diet. And I remember writing you and saying, hey, are kale chips okay? I was trying to cut corners instead of having real kale. I thought if I have it in the form of a chip, or I'd have mango, but it had dark chocolate on the outside, And now I just laugh at myself. I can eat the real greens. And I thank you for that and for all your encouragement. And that's what I'm going to stick with, that and then no eating between meals. And I think if I had a goal for me, I'm considering how to do the 2 meals a day, but I get full kind of fast. And I feel like I really wouldn't have as much variety as I need. So those are just my thoughts. I mean, I like it, and I think that's a good goal to have, but I'm not sure how I would get there. But the funny thing about the Fast 8 program is that's what I thought at the beginning. I'm not sure I can do anything. and I've really enjoyed it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that, Melinda. And again, I love your story too. You didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but you've gained practical things that are helping your health. And I'm glad you mentioned that 2 meal a day thing. Here's my experience as a physician. I find that most people, and by most, that's well over 50%, probably 75%, 80% of people do the best on 2 meals a day, but it's not everyone. And so if to get your variety or to keep your calories up, we don't want, if you're at a good weight, we don't want you wasting away to nothing. So really, people can get on too restrictive a diet. And I've mentioned this before on the program. We'll occasionally run into someone who does really get on too restrictive a program. And if your weight just keeps dropping, I mean, at first that might be good if you're overweight, but we don't want it to just keep dropping. It's supposed to equilibrate at something. If you're on a good program, if you're on an optimal program, if you're just on a calorically deficient program, and we call that starvation. Okay, I mean, it might be slow, and it will not be good. I mean, it's bad for your bones. It can be, bad in a number of respects. Bad for your energy level, bad for your sense of well-being, bad for your muscle mass. So yeah, we're not. Once you get down to, and you say, well, what is that weight? It's just, and that's why it's not a magic number, but I will give you a rule of thumb when I start getting concerned. Okay, so when do I get concerned that someone weighs too little? So let me give you these 2 rules of thumb. So if you're a woman, we start with 100 pounds for your first 5 feet. If you're a man, it's 105 pounds. And then for every inch above 5 feet for a woman, it's 5 pounds per inch. Okay, that's where so a woman who's 5'4", it's 100 for the first 5 feet, 5 pounds per inch after that. That brings you to 120. And I'll give you 10% from that. So if you're 5'4" and you're down to 120, you're pretty lean. If you get down to 110, 108, then I'm starting to get concerned. If your weight's starting to drop from there, then you need to reevaluate. You're probably on too restrictive a diet, okay? So for men, it's 105 pounds for the first 5 feet, and then 6 pounds per inch. So a man who is, let's say 6 feet tall, that's 5 pounds and 12 inches. So the first 5 feet and 12 inches. So 5 feet is 105 pounds for the man, 6 pounds per inch afterwards, 6 times 12, 72. So 177. And again, I'll give them, 10%. So, bring them down to 160 or so. But if they're losing weight, if they're 160 or below and losing weight at 6 feet tall, then they need to reevaluate something. They're either, let me tell you, the most common thing I see when people are losing weight too rapidly, one of the big ones is they're not taking enough time to eat. That's a huge one. Okay. Now
Does
you might use
muscle-
it. Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
does muscle weight account for that difference between men and women?
Yes, generally the reason why they use those different rules of thumb. So because of the male hormones and the muscle, men usually carry more muscle mass than women, and that's why they use a different equation. That's right. Any other questions or comments tonight?
I just would like to comment a little bit more. I wasn't able to be on most of the time during the program, but I was watching, and I have a family history of diabetes, and I'm glad you gave us the parameters for the weight, because that's exactly what a doctor told me a number of years ago. And that was my goal for this 8-week program, was to get down to that weight limit. But I've appreciated the leaf stem and flour at the beginning of the meal, because I tend to put those at the end of the meal and don't want to eat quite as many. So it's been helpful to eat them first. And I've tried to fast from fried foods. I have a couple of grandsons that really like fried potatoes, and we still have potatoes from our garden. So we've had those a couple of times, but not when we don't have them when we don't have the kids over, we don't have fried potatoes. And
Well, let me comment on that, Linda. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll let you come back to it, but and this again is part of the program. Remember, you can define your goals any way you want. You can say, when the grandkids are not here, we're not going to eat any fried foods, but as a special treat, once a month when the grandkids. Yeah, so you can set your goals any way that you think is realistic for you. So yeah, I appreciate that. And to your point about the leaf stem and flour foods, you mentioned the connection with diabetes. Those foods are some of the very best foods, those and beans, when it comes to keeping your blood sugar stable. So you can eat a lot of those foods, very nutrient rich, and they tend to keep your blood sugar stable. So you had something else, though, that you were sharing with us.
so I had a family history, so I'm really trying to keep the weight down so I can avoid that diagnosis. Yeah, I've increased my activity a little bit. I've been walking anywhere from 2 to 6 miles a day, and that works pretty good for me till I get something like plantar fasciitis, and then I have a hard time getting in 6 miles, but that's temporary. And I liked what you said at the very beginning, to fast at the end of your meal. And just having that concept there, I eat, and if I stop eating and I'm not really hungry, I just quit. I don't have to
Good for
keep
you.
eating.
Excellent.
So,
That's it, that you connected with it. Yeah, fasting at the end of your meal. That's good.
just those little hints have really been helpful. And a lot of these things I knew before, but I've just having it reinforced. And fasting after 3 p.m., I had kind of gotten on to 2 meals a day, which meant I wasn't eating after my second meal. So it was pretty easy to go into the just don't eat after 3.
Good,
So
good.
it's been really helpful.
Tremendous. Well, thank you for sharing. And we do have another chat in here that I want to mention. So this is from Charmaine, and she's thanking all of you. Thanking all of you for all your testimonies. They've been great testimonies. she expresses appreciation to me and to our team. And so we just it encourages us to hear, you know, how you've been using the program. And really, if this has been a blessing to you, share it with someone else, you see, and you know, tell them about it. Tell, you know, your friends about it, because the program will continue to be available. And the 30-day program, you know, I mentioned the testimony from someone that they thought that was a bit much for them. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of like building on what Melora shared earlier. Even the Fast 8 program, you know, giving you, trying a different thing every week. If you've identified the one thing you're going to change, like she's done, well, why go through 8 more? But the goal was to try to expose you to all these things. But not everything works the same for every person. The 30-day program is more directive, where we give you specific things every day, specific challenges for you to work with. We do let you set your own goals in that one too, but it's just a little bit different approach. So that's a great option too, if some of you want to reinforce things. I met someone in one of the speaking engagements I was at, and they said, oh, I've been, this person had success going through the 30-day program, had lost weight, I think had improved their diabetes. And they said, now every now and then I'll watch one of your 6-minute videos just to kind of motivate me. I'll just go on and, you know, watch a video here or there to try to help, you know, underscore some of my resolve. So yeah, however you use the resource is great. Okay, someone also saying you inspired them with exercise goals. Really admire anyone that can exercise consistently. I want to, but I haven't been able to do that. And remember, and this is a great comment, you know, it's affirming the others, and I didn't read it as that person putting themselves down, okay? But you could do it that way, you see? I didn't read that in that comment, but don't let what you're not doing define you. Don't
Yes.
say, oh, I'm weak because I haven't, you know, I haven't given up the chocolate covered mangoes yet. You know, or no, you set the goals that you felt you could handle, and you're on your path to success. So I just want to really reaffirm all of you for the success that you've been making. Let me see, did I get one other comment here that I missed? Just
Can I
wanted to.
say something to
Yes.
Melora about her
Yeah.
walking? Because I
Please.
mentioned it on one of your classes, but take the 10-step challenge. It really helped me. I kind of battled with a little bit of depression. And someone said to me, put your shoes on, go outside and walk 10 steps. And believe me, you'll keep walking. You won't turn around and go back inside, probably.
So
So
the
that
10
really helped me.
So Melinda, tell me if I understand this right. The 10-step challenge is if you kind of think, well, I really should exercise, but you don't feel like it, just go out and take 10 steps. That's the challenge. Have we got
That's right.
it? Okay. And it's okay if you go in after the 10 steps, right?
Sure, sure.
Okay. Okay.
I also had 2 friends that but Mary mentioned the first step is the hardest. It is, but it's really funny, you know, if you have good weather. I'm from Michigan. We don't have good weather, but you know, as long as you, you know, I don't go out if it's under 20 because the kids in school don't go out when it's under 20, and the other weather is manageable. But yeah, the first step is the hardest, but it is interesting. It's something about being outside and getting fresh air that it just keeps you going.
I will. So Melinda's made her kind of guideline is what bad weather is for her. My guideline for many years is bad weather is the weather that I don't have adequate clothing for. There's
Yes.
another way to express it. There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. Now I'm not criticizing Melinda, because you got to decide what works for you, but that's what's worked for me. So I've been in even more extreme weather conditions than Melinda. So I've lived in Minnesota and Maine, and if I didn't exercise when it was below 20, there'd be long periods of time where I wouldn't have exercised. So our rule of thumb is no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So we'd be out. Yeah, my wife is in the background, and she's letting you know that when we lived in Florida, we didn't go out during hurricanes. We don't go out in tornadoes, lightning storms. Okay, so she's made sure that it's always good to have someone in the wings to keep you straight. So we don't want anyone taking a sound bite out of this. Yeah, even in Nome in February, I will tell you one thing about Nome. I never remember my eyes feeling like they were freezing, but they were when I was out there running in the morning in Nome. I don't know how cold it was, but I've been out, and I've been out when it's below, 20 below or more. I don't know what it was there, but I don't remember my eyes feeling that way. Maybe it was a combination of dryness and the temperature. Okay, I saw another comment come through the chat. So let me.
One thing I might just add
Oh, Sonia's
on the exercise, like for me, I go out every day as well, no matter how cold it is, but I can't go out when it's really cold without wearing a scarf over my face and, my mouth and nose. Because if I do, when it's really cold, I wrap that around my my neck and covering my face and nose so that I'm not breathing the ice cold air, because if I do that, it really bothers my lungs. But when I do that, it works great. So I just have a big wool scarf that I wrap around, as well as, of course, my other bundled up clothes. But that can make a big difference. If the air is really cold, it'll bother you. Some people it will bother. It doesn't seem to bother David, but for me, I have to do that, or I'm, I pay for it, but it works.
You're both an inspiration.
Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing that, Sonia. Someone also did in the text, in the chat, share something about a gallbladder flush. And there's a number of different protocols to try to get stones out of the gallbladder. We will not address that in any detail here, but I will tell you, some years ago, I met a researcher who was looking at this and had seen generally good results with it. He was actually doing ultrasounds and showing people passing stones. He never published it, though. It was a shame. But the big concern with any gallbladder flush is that you'll dislodge a stone and that it will get caught in the common bile duct, which is the duct that drains the gallbladder and the pancreas. And if you do that, it can cause pancreatitis. But when I was asking him about this, and he was saying when they were observing it, these flushes, they weren't having people with retained stones. But that's been the theoretical concern why some doctors will say, well, don't do that because of that theoretical concern. So I can't tell you anything more than what we say is anecdotal, just, hearing different things from different people. But, just kind of keep that in mind that, there's both pros and cons that people have shared about those approaches. Okay, we are going to wind things up on that note. Again, I've been excited. It's been a big commitment, but we felt like our time was well spent on helping folks go through this fast aid program. Again, thank you to each of you. Stacy, you were trying to get your hand up in a minute ago. Since we officially have 2 minutes, I could squeeze you in.
Yeah, I'll be super, super fast. Okay. I carry cauliflower in my purse now. So that's a very weird thing, but hey, when I travel, I keep it in a cooler, but sometimes I stick it in my purse. And I never thought I would do that. And when I started this program, I was in the middle of my father-in-law being on hospice. I'm originally from Tennessee, but I was in Michigan at the time. And I thought there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. But by the grace of God, I've been able to do this. And I'm so thankful. I can't tell you enough. And all of you, just God bless you. And somebody asked for my phone number and I can share it. I don't mind, but do I have time to put it in the chat or?
Yeah, put it in the chat. Okay. Because Stacy had shared her in another session. She said, I'll put it in the chat, but I don't want everyone in the world to see it. So I'll try to make sure it's not show. I'll try to make sure I don't look at the chat anymore. So if I open my chat up, then it's going to show your phone number to the whole world, to the potentially millions of people who one day will watch Fast 8. Okay. I don't have any such delusions, but anyway, we're thankful for each of you. So if you really want Stacy's number, please get that sooner rather than later. It may have flashed up on there anyway, in spite of my best efforts, Stacy.
Anybody, that's fine. I'd be happy. Well, I'm praying for you all. And thank you so much again.
Okay, well, thanks to each one of you again for being part of the Fast 8 family. Since we've tried to keep this non-sectarian, but this was a kind of a bonus session, and we will close with a word of prayer just because we've asked God to guide us on this journey. I know a number of you have done that as well. If that's offensive to you, you can slip away right now. But I do feel like he's helped us on this journey. So let's just have a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for how you've guided, how you've worked in so many people's lives through this program. Help each one know what needs to continue to be different, who they need to share the program with or share the 30-day program with, and continue to multiply the blessings that you've worked in the lives of those who participated in this program. We thank you for it all. In Jesus' name, amen.
And
Okay,
Thank
God's
you.
blessing on each one of you. Have a
Blessings
good
to
night.
all of you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.